Hello everyone! Today I'm going to report all about scheduling for service organizations. So let's start. So in many service organizations, scheduling is complicated because service demand, quantity, type of service and timing is often variable and hard to forecast. In addition, inventories may not be possible and capacity is limited. So techniques for scheduling services demanded range from setting appointments, requiring reservations, using a public schedule, and delaying or back ordering the service. So let's look at each of these individually. Number 1 is appointments. So appointment system set a time for the customer to use the service. For example, students make appointments with professors to discuss classwork. Appointments minimize customer waiting time and make a good use of service providers' capacity. The disadvantage of an appointment system include the problem no-shows. Those are the people who miss their appointments and insufficient time of schedule. But don't worry, in case of no-shows, the service provider may be ideal until the next scheduled appointment and incur a loss of revenue. In the case of insufficient time, the service provider often falls behind schedule and keeps customers waiting. The next one is the reservation. A reservation system enables the customer to take control or temporary possession of an item. For example, a hotel room, an automobile, or a banquet hall. A reservation system provides advance notice of when the item is needed and for how long. Deposits usually reduce the problem of the last-minute cancellations or no-shows. So the next one is the posted schedules. Many service providers post a schedule indicating when a service is available. Movie theaters, universities, airlines, trains, retail stores, museums, concerts, and sporting events are all examples of service that post schedules. The posted schedule tells the customer the event date and time. Lastly, we have the delayed services or backlogs. Another method used to schedule customer demand is the delayed service or backlogs. Restaurants that do not take reservations are one example. The restaurant puts customers on a waiting list until a table becomes available. Other examples are banks, grocery stores, retail stores, repair service, and barber shops. In most of these organizations, customers are served in the order in which they arrive. These methods are aimed at the better managing the service organization's capacity. So an alternative method for managing capacity involves the way the workforce is scheduled. So let's move on to the scheduling of employees. So since organizations may not always be able to schedule demand, the alternative is to manage capacity in the way they schedule employees. So organizations can staff for peak demand, use floating personnel, have employees on call, or use a temporary employees, seasonal employees, part-time employees, or any combination of the above. So let's start. The first one is staffing for peak demand. With this procedure, the organization has enough service providers to accommodate the maximum level of customer demand. The obvious problem with this is cost. So the workforce is fully used during peak demand. Otherwise, a portion of the workforce is ideal. Organizations typically staff for peak demand when the service providers have significant skills and the size of workforce cannot be changed quickly. Next, floating employees. So when customer demand for services can change daily, organizations use floating employees to their advantage. Floating employees perform a number of services and are assigned where they are needed each day. So hospitals use floating employees because the number of patients and degree of care needed can change daily. So a disadvantage of this approach is the uncertainty of work location and transient nature of short-term assignments. Employees on call. Some organizations use on-call employees during specific periods of the week. Physicians at a hospital may be on call in case of emergencies, though not physically present unless needed. So maintenance employees may also be on call in case of emergencies. Although being on call restricts an employee's normal free time, it also means the employee does not have to be physically present in the workplace during the specific period. Next, temporary employees. So using temporary employees is another way for an organization to adjust workforce level. So an organization can hire temporary employees with almost any skill set through a temporary agency. The agency provides the employees and bills the organization. Next, seasonal employees. Service organizations such as retailers with seasonal customer demand hire seasonal employees. These are short-term hires who expect their job to be terminated at the end of the season. Growers, for example, use seasonal employees to process items as they ripen. These organizations need an expanded workforce for a short period of time and cannot justify hiring additional permanent employees. The last one is the part-time employees. For some organizations, customer demand is higher during certain times of the day and lower at other times. At a fast food restaurant, for example, demand is high at meal times, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and lower during the rest of the day. Instead of hiring employees for a full 8-hour shift, the organization uses its capacity by hiring part-time employees. Organizations can combine any of these techniques to manage their service capacity effectively. Although these techniques provide the means for managing capacity, organizations still need to develop employee schedules that comply with legal requirements and contractual obligations. Legal requirements may dictate the minimum number of employees physically present and on duty at a fire station. For example, contractual obligations are determined by labor agreements. These obligations may limit overtime and concern the number of consecutive days of each week. So that's it for scheduling service organizations.